So we're going to talk a little bit about Just Stop Oil and some prosecutions that have happened or finally gone through. People have been sentenced. A few people have been sentenced. There's a tweet there from Lotus Eaters where 4 or 5 different Just Stop Oil protesters, quote unquote protesters, been sentenced to something in the order of 4 and 5 years apiece. And there's been a bit of a backlash from lawyers, celebrities, academics, artists, and the like.
Oh no, not them.
Yeah. Oh no. So obviously, for most people, most normal people, that's nice. It's actually a bit of justice for once.
Yeah.
The gears of justice might turn slowly, or very much do turn slowly, unless you're Donald Trump, and then sometimes very quickly.
Yeah.
But at least some of these got their comeuppance a bit. Completely deserved it. I mean, if you close down a big motorway like the M25 or something, or any road really, but certainly a big motorway, you just completely illegally just go into the motorway and close it down. That's a pretty serious crime in my book.
It is, yeah.
It's economic terrorism, but also there were people who were. I saw one clip where they were trying to get the woman to the hospital. She was pregnant, and they were blocked, and they wouldn't get up off the roads. So they were putting people's lives in peril as well. So it's not just Tamara's, poor Tamara, who's now locked up for 5 years or whatever her name is. That's the consequence of doing something so rash.
Wasn't there a case of a woman who had some sort of spinal injury that needed to be rushed to the hospital, and she faced paralysis because of the delay? And of course, they calculated some of was it the M25 delays or something like that? Yeah. But it was like 50,000 hours worth of delays for people.
There's lots of examples of people with medical emergencies. Lots and lots of the fire brigade needing to get somewhere. It's absolutely mad. I think one of the girls' name was Cressida, and her mum, classic, isn't it? Really? Yeah. Again, anyone in America might not know, that's just sort of gives you away as middle class, very middle class.
Well, it's posh, it's sort of upper class, isn't it?
Well, that's another thing, actually, I need to mention about Brits and Americans have a different concept of what is and isn't middle and upper class. Because I've said before about other people, I talked about that Sam Bankman-Fried, and I described him as middle class, upper middle class, and some Americans said, you don't know what you're talking about, look at his family and look at his upbringing and how much money. But for us, for a Brit, you're not upper class unless you're landed gentry. You can have millions and millions and millions of pounds, but you're not upper class. You will still remain middle class. And anyway, I think Americans have a bit of a different definition.
Well, they have a financial definition, don't they? Whereas ours is sort of cultural.
It's actually to do with if your family's titled or own land and things like that. So don't get my back too badly if I describe multi-millionaire Americans as still being middle class. Anyway, as a slight aside, Cressida's mum had something to say. Can we play that clip? Josh, can you do it? Can you?
Samson's got it, I think.
So her mum, Samson, are you going to do it? There you go. Look at this state of this.
My daughter is Cressida Gethin. At the age of 22, she was the youngest defendant. And she has just been sentenced today to 4 years in prison. This means she will not be present at her brother's wedding next summer. I want to bring her to life. For those of you who were not present in the courtroom, Cressida grew up in the countryside and is one of those nature-loving defendants that you've heard about. She is an extremely talented musician. She worked hard growing up. She achieved highly. She has ambitions, dreams, and hopes, like all young people.
Don't commit crime.
She had just finished her first year at university. Cressida also grew up completely understanding right and wrong.
No, she definitely not. She broke the law, you dumb bitch.
Stand by when she sees injustice. She has the courage of a lion and a moral compass that compels her to step forward when she sees wrong.
But no moral compass.
What she has seen, what so many people will not face, is that our leaders are sleepwalking us to a climate apocalypse by their failure to prioritise decarbonisation, and that with this will come enormous suffering. Like many of the defendants,
says a woman who's wearing clothes made of fossil fuels.
To protest and to persuade, to effect change.
The end times are
coming.
But
when she heard the science and saw that no one was paying attention, she felt she had no option. She often mentioned this statement to me from a renowned climate scientist. The world's response to date is reprehensible. What do we have to do to get through to people how bad this really is? In 2022, when
there's
she
a bit
was
more. Can we
20
stop playing
years
this? This
old,
woman's too
she
obnoxious.
took direct
There's a bit more. You
action.
get the idea.
Get the gist. Yeah.
Her daughter's now in prison for 4 or 5 years, and if it's not that woman's fault, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
What isn't.
Well, she's
Children,
justifying it.
20-year-olds are still a massive reflection of their parents.
Yeah.
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 And she has obviously indoctrinated her kid. Classic sort of virtue signalling Karen Boomer.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's brought up her child to be to do what she did.
Yeah.
And so it's her fault.
But there are some
So no sympathy, zero sympathy.
I got zero sympathy.
there are some upticks in this because she's a talented musician, so she could be in the prison band.
Yeah, right.
And she's first year of university, so she can think of this as a gap year.
Yeah.
I'm sure she already had a gap year planned.
Yeah,
Sounds like her mum's accent.
A gap year or 5 in Holloway. Good stuff. Yeah.
You're absolutely right, though. The mother has to take full responsibility. She's there reading a paper as if, trying to justify her actions. She knew right from wrong and all this. And she had so much going for her. Well, you destroyed that for her. She might have had a lot going for her, but she doesn't anymore.
And she's happy about it. You can tell if you look, she's quite happy for the
Martyr,
the attention she's got for herself, and one that she's made some sort of martyr out of her own daughter. These people are the problem.
Yeah.
And it is something approaching domestic terrorism, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, it is, yeah.
It's the same as those guys gluing the hands on top of the rail carriages, and somebody pulled him off. Did you see that?
Yeah. Ripped him off.
Have you seen the video? I think it was in France of a climate protester, similar to Just Stop Oil, where his hand just came off, and then he must have gone to the football school of acting because he's like rolling around on the floor like he was in agony when his hand just came off like that. It's pathetic, aren't they?
A lot of these people, again, Americans might not appreciate that sort of how posh, or obviously middle class or well-to-do, or not working class, not in need of any money, never struggled. She grew up in the country, very horsey or whatever it is.
Yeah.
People nickname me
Cressida.
Posh Josh, but these people are a rung above what I grew up
If we
with.
could play the next clip, this is Indigo.
Oh, God.
No, you're kidding me.
No, it's her name, Indigo.
Yeah. Her full name is Indigo Rumbelow, by the way.
Play it from the beginning again. Just try and see how obnoxious
28.
she is.
This is the 28th. This is the 27th COP conference. And what has happened every single year? The emissions have risen and risen and risen. If you were doing your job properly, everyone would be out on the streets.
So we have
but they're not. And I really want you to understand. Do you know how grave the situation is?
I do understand.
And do you have children?
I've got children.
And do you love those children?
Indigo,
Oh, my gosh.
Please, I understand the point you're making. You are here today to justify the tactics. You're effectively
Do you love
committing...
those children more than you love
You are
fossil fuels?
committing a crime. Why should...
That's
Answer
what
me
we're
this.
asking you to
Answer
do.
me
We're
this.
asking you to side with young people who
Cry.
are asking our government very
cry.
politely, in line with the UN, saying that we need to come off fossil fuels.
You're not talking to the help
With
anymore,
the
love.
knowledge that we're going to go over 1.5 degrees and this will undermine the rule of
Indigo.
law.
Indigo.
We're asking people
Stop shouting at me.
to
Indigo.
just... I'm 28.
Anyway,
This is the
no, mate,
27th
stop.
COP
Stop.
conference.
Make it stop.
And
Stop
what does
playing.
that
No,
every single year?
No. Yes.
Bloody hell.
I'd have a bucket of water. I would. I'd have just gone. Whoosh.
Yeah, just a bottle.
She's 28, and we've got to make sure that the rule of law isn't undermined by temperatures going up, which doesn't seem to actually be the case.
Well, no, and we've got a climate guy that does a lot of work with us. He's been on GB News quite a lot. He's on there arguing with Jim Dale quite a lot. He's great. You really enjoy chatting to him. I have said to Carl, but he has said, these people. They got no logic behind them. They got no science or evidence-based, theory behind them. It's just anger, and you can't speak to them. And that's a perfect example of that.
Well,
you just can't speak to them.
One thing that I'm going to say now, and we'll either have to chop this out when we put it on YouTube or not put this segment on YouTube at all, because it's to do with that CO2 drives climate change. That's just not the case. That's just simply not the case. And they love to say that all scientists are in complete agreement about that. No, they are
No,
not.
they're not.
No.
So CO2 in the atmosphere is something like 400 and 420 parts per million. 420 parts per million. That's 0.04% of the atmosphere. So it simply doesn't drive climate change.
No.
If you look on geological timeframes, we're at some sort of all-time low. It used to be a bit lower in the 19th, 20th century. I think it was as low as about 250 parts per million. since World War II. It has gone up a little bit. But again, if you look on the scale of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of years, it's been many, many, many times higher.
Yeah.
I think dozens or hundreds of times higher in prehistoric times or even dinosaur times. Fantastically higher. And then we had megafauna and megaflora, giant plants. CO2 is plant food, essentially.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
the idea that if CO2 goes up a bit, then there's some sort of existential crisis for the planet.
All life
that
on
is
Earth
nonsense.
dies.
It is
Yeah.
nonsense.
Yeah.
Absolute nonsense. So you might have to cut that bit out.
need
Or this
more
bit
I
out
think
to
that's
get on.
actually okay.
Yeah, is it?
I-
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the guidelines czar these days, and supposedly it's all right for YouTube.
But let's have a quick look because time is ticking on. Some of their greatest hits. So at the Snooker, if we could get the audio, can you play that, Samson? Make sure we get the audio on this.
Oh,
This one, if you can hear what people are shouting at the guy.
What that was for.
yeah, I did, yeah. Oh, you prick.
Anyway,
They are, though, aren't they?
you know, the level of CO2 in the atmosphere got nothing to do with snooker, has it? Let's quickly.
It's big snooker, that's the problem.
Let's quickly whip through. The Wimbledon one's not that good. Play the football one. This guy, zip tied his neck to a football post. Do you remember this? It was in the Premiership. I think it was an Everton game.
Yeah.
Go and play it.
And an environmental protester who tied himself to a goal
Everton,
post during the
Newcastle.
Premier League.
I'd have just left him there and started kicking penalties.
Yeah, let him stay there.
McKechnie from the group Just Stop Oil
I love
is
he's got an orange
accused of
zip tie as well.
aggravated trespass and pitch encroachment. He will face
enough.
Ted Bundy there.
If you want to play
getting carried
the GP one, now this was actually pretty crazy. Wow. Go and play it. This was in the British Grand Prix. It was either a year ago or 2 years ago. I think it was a year ago.
I didn't see this one.
Now, people have been hit by Formula One cars, Marshalls, and it's not pretty.
No, they're going pretty quick.
Yeah, it was actually, they did take a moment where it'd been red flagged. So the cars are actually just, you can see they're not on race speed. But there's someone comes around the back, one of the Alpha Towers, I can't remember if it was Danny Ricciardo, the Honey Badger or not, but sitting on a Formula One racetrack while there's cars out there, even if they're just pootling round, it's kind of mental.
Like, that's still pretty, it doesn't look as fast, but when you're driving, it does seem faster.
It's probably still going 80 mile an hour, 100 mile an hour, something like that. If you got hit by that, it would blow you apart.
Yeah.
It's like an even dumber version of Emmeline Pankhurst, isn't it?
Yeah. Crazy. Can you scroll down? Wait, let me scroll down here a bit. There's one at the Garden Show. Again, if we can get the audio, make sure we do get the audio on this one. Play this one.
Oh, for God's sake.
No, stop it. Humanity.
Yeah, we don't need to hear her. Let's play the next few in sort of quick succession.
This
is awful.
That's obviously a Van Gogh, one of the most famous Van Gogh paintings. There was a bit of glass in front of it, so that hasn't actually gone on the thing. But nonetheless, it's probably at least damaged the frame, but still just complete disrespect. The next one is the Mona Lisa. Again, it's got a bit of glass over it, so the actual painting itself wasn't damaged, but it's not really the point. At the National Gallery, they did the Rokeby Venus, very famous painting. They're actually breaking the glass this time. So that is actually potentially damaging it, potentially. Back in the Emmeline Pankhurst days, they broke the glass. Stop playing that if you can. That's also an homage to an earlier, much earlier protest.
Yeah.
If anyone remembers this one, this is the Magna Carta of one of the surviving copies, original.
Look at the age.
13th century.
Yeah, she's a retired vicar. One of them's a retired vicar. Not that women can be vicars.
Needs a bloke to do it.
It's pure vandalism.
Yeah.
Pure virtue signalling. It's a vanity project.
And the worst thing is that these, these are important pieces. Important paintings.
No, that was in London somewhere because there's
the British Library.
British Library, that's right. So that's in London.
Luckily, these are protected. But if they were damaged, they're irreplaceable. So these entitled brats, and I don't know why they're doing it at this age, but they just got
they're absolutely out of their mind. And one thing to say, I think, is one of the most important points to make is that they will always say it's to raise awareness about climate change. Everyone knows. Everyone knows. I remember you're not raising anyone's awareness. Okay, so that's nonsense. I remember when Vivienne Westwood went on the Jonathan Ross show 15 years ago, and she started talking about climate change. And Jonathan Ross goes, everyone knows though.
Yeah.
Everyone already knows. And didn't you get an aeroplane here from New York, Vivian? So it's like, it's just complete virtue signalling nonsense. Screw these people.
Yeah.
There's a Stonehenge one that wasn't very long ago. As you can see there.
Do you know, on this one, we went to Stonehenge on the way back from London last time. And the people...
It's not very far from here at all, is it?
No,
It was about half hour from here.
Was it?
Yeah.
I can't remember, yeah. But these people that guard these stones, we asked them if we can go over and go close, and they asked, no.
Yeah. No, you're not allowed.
So
that's the lady.
I thought that was the lady as well. But that is such disrespect, such a level of disrespect for these people who were, okay, you could talk about whether or not you should be worshipping stones, but it's harmless, But these people do.
You talk about Magna Carta as being something like, at least a secular, have some sort of sacred meaning. Well, the Stonehenge, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely is one of our most prized things.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, a few more. They tried to. They thought this was Taylor Swift's private jet. Turned out it wasn't actually Taylor Swift's private jet.
So it's some random jet.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a private golf show. I don't know if it's a golf show.
Do they know how many fossil fuels that are needed to remove all that paint from a great big jet?
Yeah, loads. It costs loads of money. Yeah. They squirted paint all up Aston Martin in London.
Yeah.
Just Aston Martin, not particularly guilty of anything more than any other mobile.
Just that they can't afford them, that's why. Maybe with mummy and daddy's money.
Well, Aston Martin, they make so few vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay, the Department of Energy, they did. This is the Department of Energy. Again, let's just whip through the next few. Harrod, the next one. Just to remember, just remind everyone, Harrods they did there. Actually, again, just a few
seconds. This is despite their mum who was probably shopping there.
Yeah.
Like Rolex. What Rolex has got to do with anything, I don't really know. But the next one is really surprising to me. Scotland Yard.
Yeah.
Well.
That's audacious. If anyone doesn't know, that is the headquarters of the Metropolitan Police, i.e. the police for London.
Broken clocks,
but who's the commissioner?
Yeah, right.
So he'd probably say, turn a blind eye, lads.
But that is audacious. That is like going to a senior politician and cuffing them across the face with a glove or something.
Yeah.
That's really quite provocative, isn't it? And then the next one, just you can see they did, what was this? The MI5 building, Ballsy, Bank of England. I think that's the Bank of England.
Stop making me support
them. Right. What else did they do on that one?
MI5 Home Office and Bank of England.
The Home Office, that's it. Yeah. So again, because the Home Office control the Met, so it's going above the head of even the police. Then we're going to spray orange paint all over you. Anything?
Look at these people.
I know. Yeah. Actually, let's listen to this because I think they asked them a bit about.
Nobody is listening to us. The messages are clear. The scientists tell us. Just this last week in the news. The UN have said we're running out of time. People are dying across the world.
Is that Tamara's mother again?
So even if we here in London don't care anything about the rest of the world, we must care about ourselves. I care about the rest of the world. I believe everybody else cares about the rest of the world. And I believe that they have just got their heads in the sand because they are so busy with business as usual that they can't bear to think about the real
Is that her marbles going?
It might be, yeah. I believe lots of things. It doesn't mean I spray paint it on walls.
It's everyone else that's got their head in the sand.
Yeah.
Is it love? And the other thing is, they will go after sort of the Bank of England or an Aston Martin dealership or something, or Stonehenge. Won't say a peep about the coal and oil industry of China or India, which accounts for the vast majority of CO2 output, if that's what they're really worried about.
But don't forget, the reason why they're doing this is because they will not come onto programs like this and be challenged.
They can't.
They can only do that.
Yeah.
Nor would we want them on here because we'd end up with orange paint.
Listen to this dude. Classic example of these virtue signalers.
Why are you doing this?
What
else can we do?
There's loads of other things you can do, mate.
What else can
Loads of other things.
No new fossil fuel licenses, and I won't have to do this anymore. The government has taken our future. I want our future back.
So do I.
Take it up with your private school, mate.
Criminal inaction on the climate crisis. The UN say you
There's
need
no
to
climate
act.
crisis.
The IPCC say you need to act. The IMF, the World Bank, all say you need to act. And yet
the
government
IMF
does
says
nothing. What does
something.
it do?
Oh, the World Bank's telling us about climate. Is
Every
that
Schwab.
last drop of oil out of the
okay?
North
If you
Sea.
could stop playing that one.
Every last drop of oil.
Um,
Are they serious?
I did have another bunch of clips of people pushing back, like dragging them out of the streets and stuff, but we've run out of time, basically. But anyway, it was nice that some justice... There we go, quick... just some
Whistle-stop
stills.
tour of some of the thumbnails. You get the idea.
It was nice, at least, that some of these goons, some of these almost mindless virtue-signalling buffoons have actually been sent down for a fair few years.
Well, there's evidence that every single one of them broke the law, so every single one of them should have happened to as well.
It's just vandalism. They're just it's just public order offences and vandalism.
Domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
Okay, let's leave it there.
Hi folks, thanks for watching. If you liked that and would like to support us, you can sign up to lotusseats.com for only £5 a month, which I think is about $7. Who knows what the exchange rate is these days. And go and watch some of our amazing premium content, such as Bo's Epochs series, which he goes into depth, extreme depth, on many various subjects, such as this one, how Crassus got his comeuppance at Carhay. Anyway, thanks for joining us, and go and follow us over on Twitter, or X, at lotusseaters_com.